Welcome to the video. If you are new here, I really appreciate you checking out the channel and this video. If you're a returning viewer or subscriber, good to see you again. Today is currently Wednesday. Now, I did take Tuesday and Monday off. Now, the reason I did that is because this week in the training program is technically a race week, which means there's 2 days off to have a kind of mini taper. In this program, there's 3 race weeks, a 5K, a 10K, a 15K, and then your final race week is your half marathon. Now, because I'm not going for any type of particular peak race here, I'm not utilizing those race weeks currently as race weeks. I'm actually utilizing them kind of as recovery weeks and then just replacing the actual race with a long run of the same distance I've been doing. So this week that will be another hour and 45-minute long run. And that's been really helpful for me, not only with timing, getting used to filming and editing and doing that kind of work, but also moving into trying to do more strength training and mobility. It really just gives me the extra bit of time that I need to accomplish both of those things. So this morning, 3 miles easy. Let's go train. There were a couple things that I was thinking about during that run that I wanted to share with you. The first one being having loops, having courses for different mileage. It's super helpful for a couple different reasons. One, if you have a course that you already know, it makes it so much easier to just go out and execute the plan, execute the mileage. It's, at least for me, always hard to go out and try to make up mileage, run around until I kind of hit where I need to be for that particular workout. And it also makes it much harder to keep consistent heart rates, keep consistent pacing if that's how your training is structured. Having consistent loops allows you to not only go out and just execute the mileage, but execute on those metrics easier because you know in each area of a particular loop what parts are going to be harder, what parts are going to be easier, where you can push, where you can ease up, depending on the workout that you're doing. I right now have loops for about every 3 miles for the kind of mileage that I'm doing. So I have one at 3, 6, and then 9-ish to 10 miles is my largest loop. Now, I do runs in between that mileage, but it's a lot easier for me, at least mentally, to notch down that mileage within a loop than it is to try to add mileage if I'm already going out. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was fueling. Typically, if I've eaten the calories that I need to in a given day, and I'm going out the next morning for anything honestly up to around 6 miles for an easy run, I typically don't find that I need really any fueling to get that work done. Still feel like my heart rate is consistent, like I have plenty of energy. The reason I say up to 6 miles is because there are times where I've gone fasted into 6 mile runs, and towards the end I will start to get a little bit hungry. That being said, prime example, this morning I was hungry from the moment I woke up to the end of the run, and I could notice that both in my ability to keep pace consistently and feel like my body was engaged, but also keeping my heart rate consistent. My heart rate was probably 5 to 10 beats per minute higher than it typically is, and I think a large portion of that is probably the fueling. My body's having to work harder to convert the energy that I don't really have into that output. Now, what that really means is I should have gotten up earlier and thought about putting in some fuel before I went on even that short run. So just something to keep in mind if you feel like you underate the day before, or if you're just somebody that needs food no matter the distance, and that's totally fine too, then you have to backwards plan enough that you will have time to fuel properly, eat, hydrate, and do the types of things that you need to before you go into your effort.
Wow, look at the view.
It is Thursday, 6:30, but it's winter, so it's pitch black dark out. We are on the track today, and I am doing a 30-minute tempo run. Typically do a tempo run kind of just out on an open course, but today I am running with Sarah. And because we train at different paces, it's easier for us to go on a track together. We're still running together, but allows us to go at the paces we need to go at. Today's tempo work is 30 minutes, so we'll start 10 minutes easy. We'll do a 10-minute build, probably from 8:30 down to low 7s, and then we'll just do a 10-minute cool down back at that easy pace. It's getting colder by the second, so we're gonna get started. I'll check in after. All right, back at the house, just want to go over tonight's run. Now, it's a little bit quicker than I thought it was going to be pace-wise, and that has kind of been the trend for a lot of my runs recently. I think there's a couple reasons for that. One being I had a couple days of recovery and then basically a 3-mile shakeout run yesterday, which is always helpful, especially leading into a harder effort or workout. The other being, I think I've gained a lot more fitness over the last several weeks just doing this training block, and a lot of that could be accredited to recovery and trying to prioritize sleep as much as I can, but also eating consistently. I'm somebody that can just go and go and go and not really think about the fact that I'm hungry and forget to eat. And so a big part of making sure that I have enough calories and eating consistently, especially proteins and carbs, and getting enough volume, is making it more of a habit, making it more consistent as far as times that I eat, what I eat. And that's been super helpful for me, and I think has played a big part into progress in this particular block. Now, for this run, I think when we were on the track, I was saying that I was going to try to be kind of in the high 8s and then work down into the mid 7s. Kind of fell that way, but ended up starting mid 8s and then running down into my fastest 400 being 6:57 per mile, and progressed down pretty much every 400. When you're on a track, it's a little easier to progress in that way. So the last several of the progressive build were 7:54 a mile, 7:42, 7:26, 7:22. The last one again being 6:57 per mile. Overall, feeling really strong and excited to see where the rest of this build goes. I am once again checking in from the parking lot of the gym. Gonna go do 3 miles on the treadmill. Decided to do treadmill tonight for a couple reasons. One, decided I just didn't want to be cold for another night if I didn't have to. And also I am running with Sarah, and we did the track last night, so we're just gonna go and do a little treadmill work next to each other tonight, then go home and enjoy the rest of our Friday night. Let's talk about gear. for the winter, at least in my experience so far, there's a lot more to consider than when you are running in the fall or summer. There's more layers, there's more shoe types, there's just more that you need to consider when you are running in the winter time. And I thought it'd be helpful to go through each type. So we'll go through clothes, shoes, general kind of tech, accessories, hats, glasses, and then kind of auxiliary products that I like to use. I'll try to keep it somewhat brief because I know this could get very long, but just want to touch on each of these categories and talk to you about why I use what I use for each thing. Dive right in here, starting with every runner's favorite topic, shoes. I have 3 pairs here that I use for different types of runs and different weather condition. I'll go through each one and why I utilize them. First pair that I have, these are my daily trainers, the ones I'm going to be using 90% of the time if the weather is good. These are the Saucony Triumph 21. I hadn't tried the Triumph series before from Saucony until trying these shoes. I just picked these up within the last quarter. I'm just over 380-ish miles in these shoes and I love them. Honestly, they're super cushiony, but they have a lot of responsiveness. They seem to be doing really well, even approaching 400 miles. I think I'll honestly probably be able to get 450 to 500 miles out of these shoes, which is great. Just helps that cost be spread a little bit more throughout the year when having to purchase new shoes. Really enjoyed using this pair, and I'll probably get another pair of these for my daily trainers going forward. Next pair that we have here is my race shoe or my speed training shoes. When I originally got these and early on in my training, I really only used these for racing. I didn't utilize them much for any kind of speed work, but recently in an attempt to try to just help my body, help the joints, help the muscles as I'm doing speed training, I will utilize this shoe. These are the Saucony Endorphin Pro. So a couple generations older. This is actually the first type of carbon plated shoe that Saucony made from my knowledge. No complaints. Again, Saucony makes super solid shoes. They fit my feet very well. Really enjoy the responsiveness you get from these shoes, and they are super light while still being very cushiony. Probably close to 200 miles on these. There's kind of some debate on carbon plated shoes and these particularly online. From what I can tell, even reaching close to 200 miles now, these are holding up great. Don't see any concerns or reasons why I need to update them at this point. Moving on to the shoes here on my right, we have the Nike Trail Wild Horse. Obviously, I'll use these shoes during the fall and summer for trail running, and I plan on utilizing this type of shoe, specifically these, a lot more going into 50K training. But right now, these are primarily the shoes that I'm going to be using when there is actively snow on the ground or if conditions are just variable in general. These are great when there is snowpack on the ground. The only disadvantage here with a trail shoe, and if you run on a trail shoe on any kind of pavement, even in a race where there's trail to pavement or sidewalk, you will note that these are incredibly stiff. They feel heavy. They can feel a little cumbersome when you are running against a solid surface, but in the snow, these do great. Tread really helps kind of lock you in and propel you forward, helps you gain a little bit of that momentum back that you lose from running in the snow. They still can be a little slippery on ice. Obviously, this tread, especially in the Nike Wild Horse, weren't particularly made for snow running. They were made for trail. So the tread is for gripping onto dirt and other kind of rugged elements and protecting your feet against that. All that being said, these have been great shoes for that. In my experience, I know that there are other trail shoes out there, and Saucony actually has some that are more winter focused, so they have some grippier tread, but these have been great. Awesome dual use shoe from Nike. I really appreciate it. I actually have 2 pairs of these because I thought they were so great when I initially got them. I have quite a bit of mileage to put on either of these pairs. One last piece on footwear before we move on is socks. It's not something I considered a lot, having only trained in the summer and fall previously, but these are crucial to winter training and training effectively. Obviously, there are milder days during the winter, so I'll still utilize something like these lightweight stance socks or like these kind of lightweight synthetic wool wigwam socks. Those are great kind of lightweight options. What you will want to get though in the winter, especially when there's snow on the ground, if your feet are going to be getting wet, but even if it's just cold, is get a good pair of smart wool socks or synthetic wool socks that are specifically made for colder weather. This is the Smart Wool synthetic running sock, and these have been amazing both for keeping my feet warm, but also on days when there is snow on the ground. These are great for keeping my feet dry. I can feel that there is moisture in the shoe, but it is all locked up in this sock, and I haven't had any issues as far as blisters or different things from moisture. And I think that a big part of that is having a sock like this when running in the snow or anytime I'm going to be getting my feet wet. Let's talk about headgear. I have a variety of options here, and I'll kind of talk through each and why I utilize them during winter training. Starting over here with sunglasses, my go-to are always going to be the Roka Matador. Just a great pair of sunglasses all around, super lightweight. The grip that they have on them is amazing. You never have to fidget with them or feel like they're sliding around on you. The other pair that I have here are from Wild Horn. These are great, and I actually just picked these up because they have interchangeable lenses and they were fairly inexpensive. You can get interchangeable lenses for Roka, but they are fairly pricey, so I opted for this pair just as an auxiliary option. Right now I have a kind of amber frame on there. Those are great for low light, especially cloudy conditions when there are snow on the ground. It helps give you a little bit more definition so you can see where you're stepping and where you are needing to avoid ice irregularities in the snow. That will help greatly with that. They also come with a clear lens and then a dark lens for full sunlight if you need them. Typically though, I'm going to be using the Roka sunglasses in a full sunlight scenario. Moving over to hats. The hat that I utilize the most during winter training, and you've seen in a lot of my videos, is the CLA hat. This one I like a lot. I do have other hats from them, but this one's material is a little bit sturdier. It's a little bit warmer. The lining here is a little bit thicker, I think, than the other versions that I have, so this one's been great for winter just for that reason. I also like these for winter training because you can pair them with the headbands. That is helpful when you're going out on a run where maybe it's raining a lot or the snow is very heavy and you still want some warmth, but you want that brim to help protect you from snow as it's coming down, keep that out of your eyes, and help the sunglasses do what they need to do. With headbands, I have a couple different options. So for much colder runs, 35 degrees or lower, if I need to pair it, I will add this Smart Wool headband. That does a great job wicking away moisture, keeping sweat away from your head, but also keeping you warm. Then I also have a more technical kind of thermo Mizuno headband. This one's great. It is shaped a little bit better, so this one's good to layer on top of the hat because it has that notch. You're able to keep your ears warm, but this one is not super toasty, so I'll use this kind of in the honestly low 50s all the way down to that 35-degree range. Moving over to beanies and gaiters. I thought beanies would be super annoying and always avoided using them in the past until I got into weather where it was pretty much unavoidable. In my experience, kind of any beanie will do. I have used a variety of different types, different materials. They make running specific beanies, but in my experience, even just a regular kind of cotton beanie has been great. When it's cold out, you're not sweating as much, for one, and second, you're not really noticing that sweat being on your head like I thought you would. Honestly, these do a great job of kind of pulling that moisture off your head. You obviously notice that they're covered in sweat when you're done, but they are not really that much of a nuisance when you're actually running in them in cold weather. The other thing I like to utilize, especially when it gets really cold, so we're talking 20s and teens, is a thermal gaiter. These are great because you can pull them up over your face, keep your face warm. It also helps keep a lot of body heat in and around your neck and keep it from escaping out of any type of jacket. All right, let's jump into some fun stuff and talk about tech. I try to keep tech fairly minimal, carry as little as I can, but especially with filming, I do have to carry a little bit more than maybe I had in past training blocks. Now, as far as cameras, I carry the one that you are watching through right now, which is just an iPhone 12 Max. Also carry a LumiCube light that suction cups onto the back, super convenient. Recently, I've been also carrying a GoPro 11 Black. This has been great for kind of smoother shots and just utilizing different types of angles. Other than that, day-to-day carry for tech, starting with lights. In the winter especially, you're going to be running a lot more in the dark, pretty much no matter where you are, unless you're fortunate enough to work from home or be able to fit your runs in during your lunch break. You're going to be doing a lot of dark running, so lights are super helpful. I use a Black Diamond Sport headlamp. I like this one a lot because it has a couple different modes. It has a dimmable light function, but it also has a very wide field of view for its light, and that's helped by utilizing both of these lights here. And it's great when you're wearing a brim tack because it kind of sits over the top of it, but still allows a lot of light to be very prominent in front of you and not be too far out where it's not very helpful. The other light I will utilize is this honestly cheap light that I got from Amazon. I got a couple of these. The only disadvantage here is they are only magnetic, so you kind of have to have something to clip them onto. I actually did utilize these during a run, and the first run I utilized them on, I lost one completely because it just fell off the jacket I had it on. These can be helpful, but they're more helpful in kind of a pack situation or where you have something solid to put it on, especially horizontally. But it's just another great option as far as light and helping you see when it is snowier. Sometimes the headlamp's not quite enough to really give you the view that you might want. This would also probably be great in any kind of night setting where you're needing an even wider range of view. You can maybe put them on your sides, see further out if you're running on trails or other areas where you feel like you just want a little bit more light around you. For headphones, I use the Powerbeats. I like these a lot because they hook around your ear, so you're never having to fidget with them and mess with them. I've done plenty of running in AirPods and other headphones like that where they kind of just sit in your ear. At least for my ear, the AirPods are very clicky. You can hear them jostling around in your ear because they're really just sitting in there with the rubber that's in your ear canal, so you'll feel them moving around. You can hear them. That's super annoying to me. I only wear one of them when I am running. If you're wearing both, it cancels out pretty much all the noise around you, which can be particularly unsafe, especially when you're trail running, but also just in day-to-day life. You never know, what cars are doing around you, or if there's people in front of you, behind you. It just keeps you more aware. So I'll wear one of these to listen to podcasts or music. One newer addition for me this year is a Apple Watch Ultra. I picked this up primarily because I wanted to be able to go on runs and receive calls and make calls without having to carry my phone. Obviously, ironically now, I carry my phone pretty much on every run to capture it for all of you, but this has been a great addition. As far as media goes, Apple Watches are going to be undefeated. They are the best media watch, hands down, easiest to use. The downside obviously being battery life and the level of detail that you can have in your activities. Prior to this, I had a Garmin Fenix 6 watch. That was an amazing watch. Sarah still uses it. As far as activity goes, battery life, Garmin is unmatched, but this is a great watch for daily training, short sessions to medium long sessions. I've even read forums where people have used this for 12-hour races. Can be very rugged, but it's not going to compare to a Garmin watch. That being said, I've enjoyed it a lot as far as its usability between my phone, using it for media. It's been amazing for that piece. Lastly, want to talk about this chest pack. The great thing about this is I can carry a variety of options, but it doesn't add a lot of weight. So I'll carry food in here, I'll carry extra gloves, cameras, different tech if I need it. I also carry a small knife and some pepper spray. I'm obviously not a huge target for people trying to attack people maliciously, but this is just more of a peace of mind. Look into your local state's laws and regulations. Some states don't even allow you to carry pepper spray, so definitely keep that in mind when looking at items like this. This is a great pack from ASRV, kind of their middle ground. Like I said, has a variety of different pockets, has an internal pocket here, helps you organize a little bit, and then has a larger mesh pocket on the back. All of this is highly reflective, so you might not be able to see it right now, but any kind of other videos or photos, you can see this reflecting, and that is just very helpful as far as safety when running at night or in the dark. Last but certainly not least, let's talk about clothing. As you can see, I have a variety of layers, and in the winter, layers are the key to making sure that your runs are successful and that you are not either too hot or too cold. One of the biggest things that has been helpful is a good pair of leggings. This is a pair of Saucony leggings. I know that they make a variety of different types of leggings in their line. This one has been great. I actually got these from a Runner's Roost. These are really nice. They are very good at keeping you warm, but they're also very light, flexible. No complaints there as far as durability. As far as layering goes, what I will typically do is I'll have a base layer. If it's really cold, I'll have a base layer of a t-shirt or tank top, just something that's real close, adding a little additional layer of warmth. But if it's not too cold, I will start my base layer as a kind of long sleeve, moisture wicking quarter zip, something like a Nike, or I've been wearing this Spider quarter zip quite a bit. I also like those as a base layer because you can unzip them, so it just gives you additional functionality as far as ensuring that you can vent more heat if you need to. Moving over to this stack, this is kind of more your mid layers. Again, I have some quarter zips that are mid layers. I also have more of a sweater type mid layer from Nike. This one's also really cool because it has gloves built into it. So it has a little thumb hole that we all love, but you can also flip this over and it becomes kind of its own mitten. So if you ever come across a mid layer like this, super advised you pick one up. This has been amazing and super helpful when you don't want to carry additional thicker gloves, but you are wanting something a little bit more than maybe the thinner running gloves that you would typically wear. As far as another option for a mid layer or even a layer before your top layer, I always have a couple different types of full zip hoodies. This is from Adidas, part of their Terex trail running line. This one's really nice because it's very warm, breathable, but it's also very lightweight. Great option if you are looking for something that can be kind of in between, but not overheat you as you're completing your runs. Also, anything lightweight's always helpful because you can take off, tie it around your waist if you need to, and it's not too much of a nuisance. My primary outer layer has actually been a Helly Hansen technical hoodie. This has been amazing. It is fully waterproof, so don't have to worry about rain or snow getting the rest of your clothing wet. And then the inside's this kind of felty material, which is what keeps it warm. This is amazing because it is so lightweight, but it is super warm, super wind resistant, and just keeps you comfortable as long as you need it. I also have a kind of puff jacket. I've been wearing this a little bit more recently on easy runs, so short mileage, but also going to the track. This has been great to start off if you don't have time to do a kind of full warm-up. It's helpful because it will help you warm up quickly, but if you are using it for anything kind of over a shorter run, I wouldn't advise this because it will overheat you very quick. This is a nice thing to have kind of in your arsenal if you want something that will help you warm up quickly, if you have runs where you can dump layers, or if you're doing any kind of track work. Highly advise this kind of outer layer. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel and it helps people just like you find this content. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so that you see videos right when they come out. And we'll see you on Monday.